Hello, good people. Today for something motivational. A year or so ago, I saw the debut episode of the Mind the Game podcast, in which LeBron James and JJ Redick talk about basketball. Both of these guys have made the absolute most out of their natural talent as ball players. And LeBron James isn't finished. Even after 22 years in the NBA, long enough for his own son to play on the Los Angeles Lakers with him. And JJ Redick played for 15 years in the NBA with less physical ability than most of the guys he played with and against. So both of these guys know what it means or what it takes to be the absolute best one can be at something. Also, they're both very intelligent, very analytical, very self-aware, very honest with themselves, very articulate, which has obviously benefited them and is a great advantage to us or those of us who wish to learn about self-improvement from them. Because I'm a writer, I'm going to tailor this video to the perspective of what makes a great writer. But the original video, which I'm going to draw clips from, was titled, What Makes a Great Basketball Player? And we're going to focus on LeBron James's point of view.
What are the qualities for you that make a great basketball player, beyond just talent and skill set and size?
Knowing the history of the game. Knowing the history of the game, knowing the ones that came before you, knowing the ones that paved the way, knowing the reason why you're actually having the ability to actually live out your dream. That doesn't happen without the people that came before you. It does not happen if they're able to just be pure in who they are. That allows us to now perform and do it with no care.
We writers also have to know the history of our game. If, as a writer, you haven't read the predecessors, if you haven't enjoyed the accomplishments of those who came before. For example, if you haven't marveled at how Jane Austen or Leo Tolstoy plotted their novels, or how Ernest Hemingway or Raymond Carver or Eudora Welty or Flannery O'Connor wrote their dialogue, or how Charles Bukowski or John Fante or Jack Kerouac or Hunter S. Thompson or Iceberg Slim, how they broke the mold to carve out their stylistic niche. If you don't marvel at how Borges or Gabriel García Márquez did something completely new, or how Jan Morris or James Wright or Florence King were unapologetically themselves on the page, or how James Joyce kept upping the ante, kept progressing, or how Muriel's spark never really fell off. If you haven't seen that, or seen that from some subset of great writers, okay, then you don't know your possibilities. You can never make the most of your natural talent. At best, you'll be a flash in the pan, a one-hit wonder. And that one hit might be a single story or poem published in a literary magazine or journal that nobody reads. LeBron James says that his predecessors, for paving the way, allow him to play without care. Perhaps as writers, our predecessors teach us that we can explore all possibilities with our work without limit, and we can find readers if we do it well. Now, let's listen to LeBron's quality number 2, and I wonder how many writers would be this frank and forthright.
Also, I think discipline at people, you know what, people use that word so loosely.
What does it mean to you?
You have to have the ability, when it comes to discipline, it's like you have to sacrifice loved ones. You have to sacrifice loved ones for a long period of time if you want to be great. It is very unfortunate, and you feel it at times because it gets hot. but you have to have a discipline to sometimes you have to sacrifice loved ones in order to be great because they don't understand. And that's okay. They don't understand what it means to, like, I am getting up every single day at 5 or 6 a.m. And when I get home after everyone leaves the gym, I'm going to take a nap. So now you're sacrificing your loved ones because you're not spending time with them. And when I wake up, I'm probably going to train again, and then I'm going to have dinner, and then I'm going to bed. And I'm going to do that every single day for a long period of time.
Okay, time for a personal confession. I put my writing, which makes me no money, actually costs me money. I put it ahead of my wife and kids every day, which isn't to say that I'm not present for them, that I'm not a decent and loving husband and father, just that I would be more present. I would be more dedicated to family if I didn't have this perhaps ridiculous calling to read and write literature. I don't take days off, at least not to relax. Weekends don't exist for me, nor do summer vacations, and I'm not complaining. I'm saying that a day off for me is a 4 or 5 hour window at least in which I can read and write with intensity with no one bothering me. I do my radio work and I teach. Great work, great way to make a living. But I feel like I'm sacrificing something. I feel like it's taking me away from what I feel, rightly or wrongly, I was put on this earth to do. And my family, I won't say it suffers, but it certainly feels the vacuum. And like LeBron James says, they don't understand. My wife especially. It's like she puts up with this relatively benign addiction in me that takes me away from her and our children and will continue to take me away until the day I die. Sometimes, to console myself, I think, well, if I care about my wife, kids are a different story, right? I mean, obviously, they just come first. But if I care about my wife at least as much as I care about writing, well, then that's caring more about something than most people ever care about anything. Anyway, let's listen to how J.J. Redick responds to this.
I always felt like my pursuit was so selfish.
Yeah.
And I would acknowledge that to my wife, my kids, whatever, my friends.
Yeah.
It was so selfish. But it was like the only way that I knew how to do it. It's the only way.
That's it.
The only way he knows how to carry out this pursuit. I can relate to that. But is it selfish? I don't know. If I didn't have this pursuit, if I didn't have this vocation, then I feel like I'd be an empty shell. And that empty shell would fill up with much worse things. Destructive, truly noxious addictions, neuroses, fears, anger, bitterness. I feel like I'd either become a lost soul or an ogre. I feel like I would live in a perpetual state of existential confusion that would draw me even further away from loved ones. I mean, without this pursuit, would I even have a self? Is taking care of myself selfish? I agree with LeBron James that having such a high maintenance self is unfortunate, at least for my loved ones, but I don't think it's selfish, but perhaps that's just wishful thinking on my part. Anyway, let's see what LeBron James's quality number 3 is.
Then the third thing, JJ, is, do you really love the game? Like, do you really love the game? And I'm not just talking about like wins and losses. Do you really love the process of the game and everything that happens before the referee does like this. That's the easy part. You know this. You know this. You was one of the first ones in the gym, one of the last ones to leave. Everyone sees when the cameras are rolling and the 20,000 fans are there and the cheerleaders are dancing and the popcorn is popping and the celebrities are sitting in celebrity row. But like, who has the love for the game when nobody is there?
And it's interesting, the love of the game part is so funny to me because I think there's a distinction between loving the game, i.e. the game, the actual competition itself, and what it means to actually love the game and everything that goes into that. You hear guys all the time, I just want to play, I just want to play. Okay, do you want to do all the things that are necessary that lead up to playing the actual game?
Well, the guys that say, I just want to play, their career won't be long.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to put in all the intricate parts of to get to that point. It's not going to last that long. It's not going to last that long. You won't have a long, sustainable career. And that's okay. Some guys, I mean, you've been in a locker room, some guys don't really care about playing a long time in this league.
After the ball is thrown up, the wins, the cheers, the interest from agents, the acceptances, the praise, the anticipation before a book comes out, the final details of the publishing process, the cover. The first copies arrive in the mail, the book launch party. Perhaps you get reviews, more praise, the podcast appearances. All this short-lived ego boosting during the moments of culmination. Although, let's admit that those moments are far, far less dramatic and thrilling than they are for professional basketball players 85 or 90 or however many times a year they play games. But is that what we're doing it for? Or J.J. Redick's distinction. Are we in love with our talent in action, the competition? Or are we in love with developing that talent? Trying and failing, pushing the envelope to find our limitations, dealing with those limitations, perhaps veering off to deal with those limitations with a skill set that better suits us. Do you love, for example, after an exhausting amount of work, outperforming someone with far more talent than you? Do you love being the tortoise to the hare? Do you love criticism? I mean, really love it. Harsh criticism, even lame harsh criticism, misguided criticism, because you know that it will help you become a better writer once you learn to interpret it. If you just like how you can write about almost anything and make people say, wow, that's amazing, what a gift. If you just love writing because you're good at it, then you won't last. Because endurance comes with stretching ourselves, with adding skills that we suck at first, but which we have to hone and perfect to probe deeper into ourselves. Look, as we grow and change as people, we don't have to grow and change as writers. We can choose to do something else. But if we want to stay in this game, then we have to love the arduous but fascinating process of improvement more than we love the competition and the cheers. And this is especially true in writing because those moments of culmination are so few and far between and so anticlimactic, as almost any writer will tell you. I mean, think about it. The most transcendent possible moment as a writer is when someone is reading and enjoying your work. And you can't be present at that. You can't be in that reader's head. So if you don't love the process, then I'd say get out as soon as you can. I want this video to be motivational. I want this video to be inspirational. So I'm going to sign off right here, and I'm going to let LeBron James have the last word.
If you want to be great and want to be like legendary, or not even, I don't even say that. If you want to maximize everything that you have with your career and your ability, then squeeze the fuck out of that lemon.
Yeah.
Why not?